show. Yet again, we are back with a soundtrack that has a drummer that is incredibly out of time, and it annoys me more every week. If you do know a good drummer, please let us know. Get in touch, Alex at laughingHorse.co.uk, because that music drives me mad. Yes, my friends, I think there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of emotional energy around at the moment. So we said the country needs a laugh, which is why we brought you the Thursday show. Now, it is free to watch. It is not free to put on. So there are going to be donations. There they are at the bottom. If you would like to donate, please donate the price of a pint, and as I live in London, that's about 20 quid. We couldn't do this without your donations, so please do get donating. Is it too early to get out my begging bowl? Well, I tell you what, it's not too early to. It's not too early to introduce some of our brilliant co-presenters. It's not just my show, it's our show, and our being the wonderful Vladimir McTavish.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, still trying my best to look as young as I do in that pre-show video, and it's
you look like Holly from Red Dwarf.
Yeah. I look like Billy Idol had some severe wasting disease, or somebody's dug up Rutger Hauer.
I mean, this is
Yeah. The good news about being old.
The Thursday show brought to you by Prozac. So, how has your week been, my friends?
My week's been all right. Unlike you, we're not out of lockdown. Well, we're sort of out of lockdown, but where I am, still no pubs open. So whether or not we get a substantial meal, we still can't go to the pub. Although nobody seems to know what a substantial meal is. One minister thought it was a pasty, and the other said it was a pasty and chips. The difference being chips, which has made some people think that chips cure COVID. I'm not getting that vaccine. I don't fucking need it. After chips. That's good news this week, the vaccine's being rolled out next Tuesday, which is great news for me because I'm in Scotland. In England, they are going to prioritise people over 85. The NHS in Scotland just assumed that was a misprint because no one in this country is that old, and they are prioritising everyone over the age of 58. So all 2,000 of us are going to get the jab. Matt Hancock has said he would take the jab live on TV, and I quote, if it will possibly save a life. I think what he meant to say is they'll take the jab live on TV if it will possibly save his job. Yes, the vaccine being rolled out at the start of December from a warehouse in Belgium. And so we'll get the first tranche of it just in time for warehouses in Belgium not being able to export anything into the UK after the 1st of January. So all those life-saving vaccines are going to be stuck in a fucking lorry park just off the M20. Yes, I'm glad I'm getting mine on Tuesday. But anyway, it's Christmas. All 5 days of it we're getting this year. And as with every Christmas, speculation is who's going to be the Christmas number one. And thankfully, not Cliff Richard this year. My pick, and I've got a very personal reason for choosing this would be my tip to be the Christmas number one. Just have a look at this.
Nice. But you know what I want to be number one? The Wolverhampton's very own legendary dancing big man. The big men keep on dancing. Say boogie,
There you go.
Is that the reason?
Go and buy it. Go and buy it. Make them number one. Make the bin men number one. The reason I like this is that was my first ever job. I was a bin man. I was a bin man in Glasgow in the 1970s. If I'd stuck at it, I could have had a Christmas single out by now. Or, well, no, we could. That's the thing, see. Back in the 70s, we didn't have time to fanny around like a bunch of cunts. We actually had to get our hands dirty in the bins. And I found this video that shows, because you look, modern bin men, right? They've got gloves, they've got overalls, they've got wheelie bins. I found this video from the 1970s that shows what the working conditions were like when I did that job, and it's immensely. No gloves.
I expect you've all seen dust carts similar to this one.
Yeah, that's what it was like. We actually had to carry the fucking bin out into the street, not wearing any gloves. You had to go into people's gardens to get them, and they would leave their dog running wild in the garden, and also we got covered in shite. Honestly, our hands were just covered in shite. And the reason I say we couldn't have had a Christmas single out is we just swore all the time. There was a guy I worked with on the bins called Dennis, and he would construct entire sentences just swearing. He's one of those guys who would say, see that cunt's gonna fucking bastard, not fucking knocking up the fucking cunt, this fucking shite bag bastard. That was his entire vocabulary. But one time we were in a dust cart going along a suburban high street, and this is how professional this guy was. A dog ran out in front of the dust cart, and the driver couldn't stop in time, and he hit it, and it was killed outright. And this guy jumped off the back of the dust cart and threw it in the back. There you go. No recycling in those days.
If you've got a dog that's been affected by any of these issues, please donate.
Well, it gets better still. It gets better still, because the woman who owned the dog came running out of Woolworths, which is where she'd been, and said, "What are you doing? What have you done, my dog?" And this guy turned around and said, "What do you want me to do, missus? Fucking stroke it." There you go. Happy days, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you very much, Vlad. It's not only Vlad and his dog-killing antics that are joining us this week. It's the wonderful trio to our trudger. It's Mr. Jay Sodagar.
Yay! Bless you. What? Let me move into that. There you go. Look at that. It's like Dynasty. There you go. Cool. No, what a wonderful intro. Killing dogs. Isn't that just a beautiful way to just bring me on? Is that? Are you calling? Is that my? Do I look like a dog? Is that what it is that needs to be put down? But bless you. Look, it's nice to be back here. Week 4. This is week 4. This is it. Week 4, and we're talking. The theme of the show is comics doing other jobs and so on and so forth. And I this is a little known fact about me. I used to work at McDonald's. It's true. I still got the uniform underneath. You can see it just there. There you go. No, I used to work at McDonald's, and this is a funny story. I worked there part-time for 2 years, right? It was one of the best jobs I ever had, because this weight problem didn't just happen. It came from that 2 years. But no, when I applied for the job, right, I was a student at the time. I was filling out the application form, and I got a bit distracted, and carried on filling out the form, and went in for the interview. And it turns out that when he read out the answer to what I had written for "What do you currently do?" and apparently I'd written "stud." All right. I got distracted and forgot to put the ENT at the end. And I managed to get the job. There you go. This is what happens. This is how low the bar is at McDonald's. It's like they just hire studs. This is what it is. They call them floor managers or lobby hosts. No, it's studs. That's basically what we are. But then the weird thing is I studied at university because I'm Asian. I got a first class honours degree in accounting and finance, and I got a job at Price Waterhouse. This is it. This is absolutely true. I got a job at Price Waterhouse, a big accountancy firm, and I filled out the application form there, and I forgot to write the O in accountant, and and that was it. So I managed to get that job as well, and I did that for about 3 years. And look, here I am as a comedian. Here I am. Here it's all gone well for me. It's all gone well for me. But it's beautiful seeing you two. How are you two doing?
All right. It's very cold here.
With
this yellow snow warning last night.
You've got a bit of the Elton look.
From garden.
Yeah. It's got a bit of the Frozen look there. You got a bit...
tonight. I have to say thank you so much to everyone that is commenting. That's over to Mark Crossley, Casey Seals, JC Spades. Please keep the comments coming. We will read out as many of them as possible that we can. Don't know if you guys saw this story as well. Something I really hope is going to happen tonight. There was an Elvis impersonator in Leeds. His name's Dean Holland. He was delivering an online performance that was interrupted quite abruptly when he was rugby tackled by an officer of the law. Apparently, he'd been singing during a live streaming gig. He hadn't heard that the police had been knocking for 45 minutes, so they got the heavies in. They bust the door open and interrupted his live gig. I really hope that happens. And if it does happen, which one of us do you reckon is most likely to get arrested?
Well,
the Asian guy. The Asian guy.
Well, I think Vlad's said that he's dog killing, so that puts him in good stead. Vlad, what were you going to say?
I say probably me. I'd probably get arrested. I've been arrested twice.
What?
Yeah. I was arrested when I was 17, and it's safe to say this now. I was arrested when I was 17 for stealing a pint glass out of a pub. Basically, it was drinking up time, and I couldn't finish my pint. My mate, who'd had 4 pints, was sitting behind the driving seat of his car, about to leave. I got into his car with what was left of my pint. He and I got arrested. Neither of them 4. They didn't breathalyze him. I got arrested for stealing a pint glass. And 17.
Yeah.
17. They said, "How old are you?" And I better say 18. So I said 18, and they said, "What was your date of birth?" And I just said a year before my real date of birth. And then and that was just outside Glasgow. A year later, actually inside Glasgow, I was arrested for, those old police boxes, like the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still worked when I was a teenager, right? And if you opened the little hatch on the side and shouted into it, you get connected to the police station. Now, I didn't know that. I just thought, fuck, I'm going to shout any old shite into this hatch. And that got telegraphed to the police station, and they radioed 2 cops who arrested me. And first thing they asked was how old I was. And I told the truth. Oh, fuck me.
Oh, that is what you don't see on the bill, is it? Well, we are going to crack on. It's not just us 3 this week. We are joined by a multi-award winning and an award losing comedian this week. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome on our first guest. She's absolutely brilliant. She has been gigging around the world, but don't take my word for it. Let's have a quick look at a clip at her doing a thing.
So quite early on in our relationship, we were boning, right, one day. And we were promised to finish boning. Afterwards, I bled a bit. And I was really thank you for your concern. So I was a bit embarrassed and sort of kind of oh, what was this gesture? Please ignore him. What is he doing? But now I'm intrigued. Are you okay, sir? Are you gagging because I said bled? He's gay. Oh God, I'm so sorry to have offended you with my vagina. You're all right. I'll try not to get too graphic. I am going to get really graphic. So what happened was, and I was embarrassed and I was a bit sort of faint and a bit squeamish about it, so I didn't tell him. And so I just acted a bit weird with him. And then he went away, and then I called him, or he called me later, and I was like, oh, by the way, the reason I was weird before was because after we burned, I bled a bit. And he goes, well, it wasn't anything I did. And I was like, no, it's probably just like the angle or something, I don't know. And then he goes, were you a virgin? Now that's an amazing question for two reasons. The first reason, I was 30. So thanks for that. Thanks for assuming I wouldn't have done it. The second reason it's an amazing question is because we'd already had sex. Like, we were dying. I can't believe you can't remember. But then after a bit, I was like, well, maybe it's a good thing that I'm not like shockingly memorable. Because, right, ladies, I don't know how you feel. Like, because you don't know how your faff compares to, sorry. You don't know how your faff compares to other people's, do you? Because I mean, I don't see that many. Like, it's not like people post it on Instagram and go like, that's what my faff looks like. So I was like, well, maybe it's good that I'm just not like a shockingly memorable one, because like, how would you know if you've got a mega wacky one?
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just invite our first guest on, the wonderful, the lovely Jenny Collier.
Yay!
Yes,
Hi! Thanks for having me.
Bless you. I know this isn't live and we don't have an audience, but I felt I should give you a round of applause for that. Bless you.
Thank you so much. I love how it showed the video and then everyone had gone apart from you. It's like it just offended everybody too horrifically.
Exactly. They fucked off, but they left me with the treasure to interview you. Bless you. It's lovely to have you here. The theme this week is about comedians doing other jobs, and we've had the pleasure of kind of gigging several times. In fact, as a little true story, when you won the Laughing Horse New Act of the Year competition, I was one of the judges, and you were unanimous between all of us to win you. So it's a pleasure to say.
Thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, lockdown's affected comedians all over the place. It's depressing and so on and so forth. But life has to go on. We have to go out and get jobs. And I found this out. This is a Facebook thing that everyone was. You've got a job now. Is that just to alternate with comedy? What are you doing now?
So I'm now being a receptionist in a fertility clinic. I'm sorry, I've got an echo, so I can't concentrate on what I'm saying, so I just told a lie. I used to be a receptionist in a fertility clinic. I'm now a receptionist in a GP surgery. That was really weird. I just told a lie. But the echo's gone now. So yes.
That's awesome. So do you diagnose people over the phone now? Is that when people phone up? Oh, I've got to see the doctor. Fuck off! You're not seeing anybody. Yes.
I am the barrier. I'm the thing that stops the patients getting what they want. But I also do end up giving some of the patients to the doctor. So I'm also giving them not what they want. So I'm ruining everyone's day by being this middleman who just fucks everything for everyone. And receptionists and GPs are like notoriously horrible bitches. And then I am now one. I'm like becoming, because I understand how hard their job is. Oh my God, they do an amazing job. And I do an amazing job.
Has any of the skills of being a comic transferred into it? Have you ever sort of like heckle put down like dodgy patients or anything?
You can't. So in comedy, you can take the piss out of people. Really like say cutting things, but when you're a receptionist and people are like, I'm worried about my health and I'm here for help, if you mock their hair or like talk about how they're punching above their weight with their partner, that is not allowed, and you can't tell them to fuck off either. So you have it's really hard actually because you have to try and stay calm as well. But when you don't know the answer to any of the questions, you feel like crying. So both you and the patient are at terrible, terrible loggerheads where there's just no good solution. So, but
it's very weird. I worked at a doctor's surgery many years ago, and it's the closest I ever got to being a doctor. My parents were so proud. But one of the things was, I was just doing admin and you know, bits and pieces in the back office and stuff, but I had to come into the reception area.
Yeah.
And one of the things is like you get people who have not embarrassing, but they don't want to make it public things, let's say irritable bowel syndrome or something like that.
Every single problem is to do with the anus, balls, vagina, like every single one. Very rare that we get somebody with a sore throat or a ear infection that's like, my anus has exploded. Please can you help me? Carry on, sorry.
I bet as a comic you're going, keep it quiet, just keep it quiet. Don't say anything. I can imagine that. Well, what was your first day like? Because there must have been like a culture shock, obviously. But what was your first day like? What is the job like? Go on.
So my first day, I think they tried to ease me in gently by giving me one task on the first day. So they got me to they gave me a spreadsheet of people who were high COVID risk, so the people who'd been shielding, and I had to call each of them and book them in for their flu jab because they're kind of very vulnerable. And so I was like, oh, this is a good job to do. I can definitely see how I'm helping. And so I'd get the spreadsheet, and then you'd take the name from the spreadsheet and then copy it into the database. And on like the third one, I type it into the database and it comes up red and it goes patient deceased. And I was like, oh my God, dark times. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to detach from this. It's going to like really get to me each time. By the end of the day, if I entered the name into the database and it went red, I was like, yes, I don't have to call them. So it was like, quickly turned around, quickly got used to it.
Oh, Florence Nightingale lives in it's amazing. Imagine it was the Crimean War. Fuck it, he's dead. Let's just move on. Let's go.
A little bit less work for me to do. I'm really not that colour.
Yes. So I guess the question that everyone always wants to ask a doctor's receptionist, stroke comedian, or comedian stroke doctor's receptionist is how much wee and poo do you handle now?
It's my bread and butter at the moment. It's really so. When I was being a comedian, one of my stories is about how I once, because I overused the NHS in the past, so I ended up having to do a poo sample for the doctor, and it turned out I don't chew enough. Was the problem. But I had to do a poo sample, and so the story was about
the entire broccoli just comes out.
Yeah. A button mushroom. Okay, let's just not. But yeah, so I used to have this story about handing in the poo, and it was like, lol, the poor people who had to open it, and then. As some kind of hilarious universe karma means that now I'm handling like piss and shit all day. And even to the point where when you arrive, because we've got a locked door policy at the moment, so we don't let patients in unless they've got an appointment. And the other day I arrived a bit early at work thinking, oh, I'll make myself a coffee, like have a little chat with everybody, like be a bit more sociable, because I'm really like just straight in and just do my work. So I was like, got in early and I thought, okay, I'm going to make a cup of coffee. Before I'd even got in the door, bag of shit is handed to me. I have to take it in. And so I was like, there goes my nice morning. This is just like shit from start to finish. Piss and shit. Sometimes nail clippings, but piss and shit.
Brilliant. Speaking of dealing with shit, as comedians, we deal with a lot of hecklers, and we saw you dealing with a very sensitive person. It always the whole thing about lockdown and COVID and everything is like it's affected every comic, and we've all sat there and kind of gone, "Oh my god, what on earth's happening?" And literally, like as indeed you can attest to, your diaries just literally got wiped out overnight. And now this vaccine's coming through and it's sort of to come back. By the way, you're a doctor's receptionist. Do you get like first dibs on it? Is that what it is? Yeah, yes.
We don't know. We don't know. I hope so. I'm a frontline worker. I'm touching people's poo. So I should be getting it, I think. Constantly like rifling through files and stuff, touching people's stuff. So I hope that I'll be in for it. I'm going to have it if we're allowed.
Oh, bless. Just to let you know, I voted for you to win the thing. So if there is a spare vaccine shot going, just hit me up. Just call me. That's it. I'm right there. Bless you. But also, I wanted to ask in terms of how do you think the circuit's going to look like in a year's time? 2020 has been shit, but 2021, what's that going to look like as a comic?
I think it's going to be freaking brilliant because the fact that we've been doing these, like we've done some outdoor gigs in between the lockdowns where everyone was like, can we do it again? And everybody went and did a few. I feel like the appetite for it was great, and it's a bit hard when the audience is spaced out because it does make it a little bit less intimate and less conducive to comedy, but people are so on board that I think it levels it out, whereas when we get to go back to normal and everyone will be able to sit near each other and they're going to be like so glad that we're out and about again, and then they're all allowed to like drink and snog and all of that, then it's going to be like party. Everyone's going to be like a party. That's what I think.
I think 2021 is going to be like, you know, Prince's anthem about, you know, 1999 2000. Bring it in, let's do this. It's so good talking to you. It really, really is. Stick around. We've got loads more, and I believe we've got David Chawner coming in. There you go.
Brilliant stuff. I love that. We've just had a question from a guest. Thank you very much to Mark, who's put it in. He said, "Will you use your current role in future comedy routines?"
No doubt. And the fertility clinic probably as well. Now that I'm bringing that back. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yes.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. Please keep comments coming in, and a massive round of applause to the wonderful That Way, Jenny Collier. That's Thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching as well. Don't forget, it is free to watch this show, and it's not free to make. If you can donate, then please do. It's not too late to donate. That is the link down there, or you go there and you just choose how much money you want to give. The free festival was set up to keep it affordable for audiences because we think everybody wants a laugh, which is something that our next performer can absolutely not guarantee. It's really lovely having a very close personal friend that I'm proud to call a friend on this show, but we've also got Nik Coppin. So let's have a quick look at him in action.
People being inappropriate. Listen, the thing is, people don't realise they're just trying to be funny. Like, check this. This is one of my favourite ones. Just in Adelaide. Now, Adelaide is riddled with bogans everywhere. So I'm doing this solo show at the Adelaide Comedy Freedom, right? Load of bogans in the back of the room, a bit pissed. And I grew up in quite a rough part of London, like I said, right? And to this day, I've never done any drugs. I've never even tried cannabis, not even once. I was proud of myself telling this story. But this bogan at that room shouts out, "You must have done drugs, mate. You're black." I wasn't offended, but what sort of stereotyping is that? Not all black people take drugs. We sell drugs. See you after the show, Manchester. You've got some really drugs, man. I thought I've some of them drugs, man. Stereotyping, isn't it? We can run really fast. That's right. I'm half white. I can swim too. I've got all the powers, man. How's the Christmas going on? That's what it isn't, right? I make the effort. I like to make the effort. So when I was in Berlin last, again, I made the effort. It's late morning. I was a bit peckish. I thought, I'm not going to have Christmas and a cheese sandwich. A bit more local culture. Carry on, don't get put off. Star of the show with a cheese sandwich. So, it. So I went up to the guy, I thought, right, look at the board, right, no, a bit of numbers, right, okay, so right. Ein Currywurst mit Pommes fritter, bitter. And he kind of said something back to me, and I was like, oh, shit. I didn't plan this far ahead. So I had to confess, so I'm sorry, man, but I don't actually speak German. He looks at me and goes, yeah, neither do I. Don't waste your time. Nonsense. I do say, some shows, obviously you do different types of shows, it's great, some shows they want to munch on the cheese, right? I'm not making you feel self-conscious, am I? Oh, good, let's all carry on. Nah, mate, I think we're fucking it. I've shagged up against fucking bins, I think. I filmed this on YouTube. Don't get ideas though, you little pervert. I see you looking at them. You look at a cheese sandwich. You look at a cheese sandwich? What's a fucking cheese sandwich? Two lovely, sexy Essex girls, he's looking at a fucking cheese sandwich. It probably is. Are you wanking over a cheese sandwich? You're fucking what? You're fucking wanking now? Cheese sandwich fetish. What the fuck was I talking about? It's a cheese sandwich, but not fucking like, I can't stop staring at a cheese sandwich. Anyway, what was I talking about? It was Germans, wasn't it? Germans, then what? What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, different types of shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next guest, a really good mate of mine. It's the marvellous Nik Coppin.
Hello, Vladdy. How you doing?
Yeah, man. It's great to see you.
Good. It's great to see you too. I'm so glad that you're interviewing me and not that bellend Chawner. Telling you, not funny, all of this sort of business. I'll tell you what, next time I see him, which is probably going to be about 10 years' time, I'll have him.
So when was that video? I'm kind of intrigued.
That is now, that was Kuala Lumpur at the place called the Crack House. That almost became like a semi-regular gig of mine. I'd be like on the way to Australia, I'd stop off there on the way back, and then maybe again in October. It was almost like it became this circuit gig for me. Like Kuala Lumpur and all those Southeast Asian gigs were like almost like a world circuit. So now it's all gone. So thank you all for reminding me about my lifestyle being totally ripped away from me.
Well, that's the thing, because you and me, the last time we've seen each other, we went out for a drink in Brighton, but the last time we actually gigged together was in Australia, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Yeah, Adelaide, I believe, in the middle of March.
Yeah. And then the world just went and fucking tits up.
It did. It was very bizarre because, as you all know, I left Adelaide a week early to go to India to meet the girlfriend and her friend, and then I was going to go back, actually do that gig in Kuala Lumpur, and then go on to Melbourne. But then, it just all crashed, didn't it? And it was weird because it was slowly sort of happening, this thing going around the world. And next thing you know, that's it. It was like Melbourne's gone, no gig in Kuala Lumpur. Had to rush back from India. Got stuck in Mumbai airport for a few hours. That was a nightmare. Thinking I was going to be stuck there for like 2 weeks, but luckily I got back. But yeah, all went anyway. That's where we last worked together. So
well, yeah, I just got out of Adelaide in time. I went on my scheduled flight, but it was when everyone was absolutely paranoid about catching the virus. And I was in Qatar Airways, and I flew to Doha. And when I got on the plane, I went in my seat pocket in front of me, and I found a face mask. And I thought, that's really good of Qatar Airways to provide a face mask. So I put it on and wore it for the whole 10 hours. Oh, yeah, I took it off, like eating shit, But I wore it for the whole 10 hours to Doha. And only then did I notice that nobody else was wearing one.
Oh, dear.
I think it was somebody else's face mask.
Yeah, like some rotten old thing that had been discarded, and you've been breathing in those diseases and spreading them around Scotland. That's why everyone's locked down now, because of you.
It was 9 months ago. I think it's like well past the 2-week quarantine.
Well, it's aged you a bit. You looked about 30 the last time I saw you.
I did. Yeah. I know. It's just it's taking its toll.
Yeah, I had a similar thing, but I didn't put them. When I got actually weirdly back from India, and I had to get a National Express coach down to Brighton, and I was sat there with my knees up against the back of the chair, and then I sort of moved my knee, and I saw some nasty discarded face mask in like the net thing, and I was like, ugh. So I moved. Luckily, there was another chair I could move to, and I thought, I'm not touching it. So yeah, that was a bit nasty, but there you go.
I thought the best bit of that flight back was Doha Airport, because everyone was keeping like madly distant, much more than 2 meters. I mean, the social distance like times 10, all wearing masks until they went into the smoking. They went to the smoking shelters, which are about the size of a taxi, and like people were standing like cheek to jowl, blowing smoke at each other with their masks off. Yeah, I think people think, fuck, I'm going to get into man, I might as well get COVID as well.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You're back.
I am. I'm back. I'm in Brighton. Yes, that's where I've been plotted up.
As a globe-trotting comic, as you were, you've now found a fairly globe-trotting way of earning a bit of extra cash, aren't you? Am I right in this? Are you delivering Vietnamese food?
Yeah, it's well, it's only been the last couple of weekends actually. A friend
not
of
from Vietnam.
No, not from Vietnam. I'd like to be able to do that. A friend of the girlfriend. He kind of is involved in food stuff and pubs, and he's a clown as well. He does kids entertainment sometimes, and he sort of runs food kitchens and pubs and stuff. Anyway, he was looking for somebody to deliver some food. I didn't even know it was Vietnamese food. I just knew it was food. So I was like, yeah, okay, look, tell him if he needs somebody, I'll do it. You know, that one of those kind of like look keen, but like, yeah, but not really overly keen. And then the next day, the girlfriend got a message going, yeah, cool, if he wants to do it. And I was like, oh shit, I've got to actually do some work now. So I went along, and it's this lovely Vietnamese food. It's like English couple that have lived in Vietnam in the past. It's lovely food, best Vietnamese food I think I've ever tasted. And I was just like, did it for last weekend and the weekend before, and just literally, just driving around Brighton. I sort of go, they just give me the thing, I stick it in the Black Panther, what I call my car. It's a black car. So anyway, it's not like I've actually got a big cat and no. So basically, I throw it in the backpack, off I go, drive up to wherever it is I've got to go, and then come back, pick it. It's just like really amusing. It's just like nothing like I've ever done before. It's just great fun. It's really bizarre.
In terms of lockdown, etc., what is a substantial meal in Vietnam?
A couple of spicy ribs will do, I reckon.
Spicy ribs and chips.
Chips. I mean, obviously chips. I mean, that goes without saying.
That's a substantial COVID-friendly meal.
But I'll tell you what, though, it's weirdly give me like exercise, because you wouldn't know this being from Glasgow, but even though you were in Brighton recently, like there's some roadworks on like the Lewis Road going into Brighton, and where I'm delivering from goes into Brighton in that direction. And so on a Friday night between like 5 and half 6, it is chock-a-block on the Lewis Road. So the first couple of deliveries I had to do, like the first Friday, it was like so chock-a-block. I had to pull off the road, and literally it was pissing down with rain. I ran up the road with 2 Vietnamese food deliveries. So I got to the first one. There's no way I was going to get back to the car and then go. It was just impossible. So normally, because I live up the top of a hill, I'm always like sauntering up a hill, like, up the hill again. And because there's like quite a few hills up near, the area I live in. And I'll tell you what, of the second food delivery, like it said, 8 minutes walk. I did it in less than half the time. I charged up that hill with the Vietnamese food. So it wasn't cold when I got there. I've never done so much exercise in my life, I don't think, but running up the hill in the rain to deliver Vietnamese food. So it was good fun. I like that with jobs. It's like I try to do things that are fun rather than just for the money, so to speak.
It's sort of like Apocalypse Now with food.
Basically, yeah, that's kind of what it is. And I have to say, I'm sure Jenny makes a bit more in a doctor's surgery, but at least I'm handling nice smelling Vietnamese food rather than bags of poo. So I probably don't win on the wages stakes, but certainly on the smell of what I'm delivering stakes. So.
Well, it'll end up in the poo bag.
Yeah. So basically, I sort of like deliver it. It gets eaten, ends up in a bag for a receptionist at a doctor's surgery. So it's all connected. It's all connected, mate.
Because you've done some pretty interesting jobs in your time, haven't you? Didn't you start on London Underground?
Well, actually, the very first job I did was I worked in a day in B Jam. You know what was used to be?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Iceland used to be B Jam, didn't it? It was B Jam, and so I did a Saturday. I was about 15 at the time, and I hated it, so I left after a day. You know, I was sort of dossing around a bit, and then my dad and brother, who work on London Underground or London Transport, I think it was at that time, made me apply to be a junior trainee, and so I did that for about a year, and then I was a signalman for a few years before they booted me out and they sent me to the stations. Basically, I was sending trains a lot of the places they weren't meant to be going. So I was north end of the Metropolitan line about 15, no, it had been more, about 30 years ago. If your train got screwed up north of Harrow, that would have been me probably. So they booted me out, and I was a station assistant, then a ticket clerk, and then I started doing the comedy thing. And my dad was like, you know, that's not a proper job, you know. And I was like, yeah, you can make money doing comedy. And I was for a little while. And now it seems like I should have stuck on London Transport. Really,
you could just have told gags over the tannoy.
Yeah, well, every now and then I'll try and be a little bit funny over the station tannoy thing, but you know that the days soon grind you down, and some of the miserable bastard supervisors aren't a fan of it. But yeah, it was all right as a job. I mean, it's not a bad job. It's just something I just didn't really want to do, so I just never took it seriously. So,
but apart from doing the food deliveries, you've been pretty busy on a totally different kind of. You've gone a career tangent, haven't you? You've brought out it's a book. It's about comedy, but you've brought out a book, and I think we've actually got. Yeah, there we are.
Yes, that's me.
Nik Coppin, Comedy World.
Yes, and the foreword, as you can see, written by Mr. Henning Venn, the German comedy ambassador to the UK. So it's quite a funny. I've actually had someone a little while ago up in Scotland, actually, ordered the book, and she sent me a message to say, "Oh, I've started reading your book, and it's like I read the first chapter, and it's really, really funny." And then we realised that the first chapter that she thought was really funny was actually the foreword written by Henning Venn. I was like, yeah, thanks for that. Henning's really funny, hey? So, that's been all right. It's because obviously I wrote it initially. I was going to write it to sell after shows. So that marketing plan went to the dogs, didn't it, really? So I've been trying to sell it.
Really? I mean, technically, you are still selling it after shows.
Well, yeah, after shows, like 9 months after shows.
After all the shows you've ever done.
Yeah,
I'm actually quite enjoying this month.
You're enjoying this month?
Yeah, I was missing gigs until it turned December, and now I'm fucking grateful we're not gigging.
Right, really? Well, of course, yeah, it'd be Christmas gigs, wouldn't it? The horrendous.
Yeah, horrific.
God. The good old days of Christmas gigs, yeah, won't be missing them. I mean, they paid a bit better, but Jesus, they took it out in your soul, didn't they?
They did. And it wasn't just the gigs, it would be driving in the fog, the freezing rain, the snow. Yeah, just to get shouted at.
But I don't live in Scotland, so I wouldn't have had to experience that.
Just to get shouted at by a bunch of people doing coke in Aberdeen. Why people do coke in Aberdeen, I can't understand. I mean, why would you want to stay awake longer than you had to?
Yeah, I've done a couple of gigs in Aberdeen. It's well, it literally does earn its name as, what is it, City of Granite, is it?
The Granite City, that's right.
The Granite City, yes, indeed.
European capital of oil and gas.
Yes, lovely, Aberdeen.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about your book, and again, it gave a wind to me to a talent I never knew you had. You're an incredibly talented cartoonist.
Well, you're talented, yeah.
No, don't hide your light under a bushel. You're very, very good. And I'll let the audience into look. Well, it's not a secret. Early doors in lockdown, we did a chat show similar to this, but it was just it was just chat. Yep. And Nik was talking about his book, and he just doodled away during. I mean, he's known me for years, but he doodled away during the interview, and this is what he came up. I mean, he coloured it in. He came up with a picture of Gordon Ramsay.
I know, amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's like you're separated at birth, you and Gordon.
Yeah. Has Gordon Ramsay been in the Vietnamese place yet?
I don't know what he'd think of no idea what he might think of it, but yeah, I think the food.
That should be tribal course.
The food's better than his, I reckon. But yeah, it's weird because I actually got myself into actually making a few quid selling them recently, and it kind of came about through the book, weirdly, because I did plan on doing the next book, and it was going to be like talking more about some of the serious underlying issues that you sometimes have to deal with, like race issues and stuff. Yeah. And there was a gig I did in Louth, which I don't know if you've done, lovely gig in Louth. And there was anyway, I won't bore you with the whole story, but this woman I had a bit of banter with, but her boyfriend was being a right arsehole, and he said some really racist things during the show and after the show. So I was going to include that story in the next book. And so I asked her, about, if she's okay with that. She said, yeah, she's fine. And I said, I might do a caricature of you and put it in the book. And if I do, I'll send it to you, right? And she then asked if I could do a caricature of her and her Great Dane, Bruce, her dog, right? So I did. Okay, I'll do the caricature. And she said, I'll pay you for it. I'm like, don't worry. I mean, not everyone just gets free caricatures like you, Vlad. But she said she'll pay. I said, okay, whatever. I'm just happy to do it. And then she put the picture of her with her Great Dane on a Facebook forum for Great Danes. And then I got like about 5 people wanting me to do caricatures of them with their Great Danes. So I've been spending a couple of weeks drawing dogs and people standing next to them, and that led to a couple of other things as well. So it kind of like was
one time it wasn't a Great Dane, it was a Norwegian.
Yay!
Nick, we are working again. It would be great to talk all night, although we'd lose everyone who's online at the minute if we did. But we're going to move on with the next part of the show. Now, the next part of the show, this is the first time we have had this section, and you are the first contributor to this section of the show, which we call Desert Island Dicks.
Oh, am I the first contributor? Okay, yeah. All right.
Very subtle graphic there, Desert Island Dicks. Desert Island Dicks, I want you to talk rant about who really gets in your tits and why.
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, there's no one, because obviously there's the obvious Donald Trumps and the Boris Johnsons of the world, but you know what? Despite the arseholes that they are, at least they're reasonably amusing in their buffoon way. So I've not really got one person, but there are a few people that certainly during lockdown have really annoyed me. And I'm going to get one out of the way straight away because there's a new PS5 game out, Miles Morales Spider-Man. Hate that. Well, I don't really hate him, but Peter Parker's the one true Spider-Man. I got in an argument with someone on Instagram about, who was the true Spider-Man and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, Miles Morales and his new computer game has wound me up, but that's been going on for a little while now, the Miles Morales Peter Parker thing. But during lockdown, I'll tell you that the thing that really wound me up was the nationwide adverts where people doing poems about being locked down. I hated them. They were really bad. Like, I went into a coffee shop and he gave me a bun. And there's some weird rhyme that goes with it. And there's the families going, oh, my granny. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about your shitty poem. It's rubbish. And I literally got to the point where I would either change the channel or mute the telly just to get rid of those awful poems. They were dreadful. And
the one that gets me is that BBC sting thing in between programs. So it's the choir rehearsing on Zoom.
Oh God! Oh, that sounds horrible.
Fuck you bunch of smug bastards. Because we can't do it on Zoom. Listen, Nick, it's been great having you stay there. We're just going to bring everyone else back in. So we're going to bring back in Jenny. Oh, there's Dave and Jenny. Hey, Jenny.
Hi.
Great to see you. You have got a rant to do in Desert Island Dicks as well, I believe.
So I was worried. Oh, a little echo there. I might start talking bollocks. I would say The person that I find most annoying is the person who had sex with the pangolin in January, isn't it? I thought that was going to be a really obvious one, and that everyone would have taken that. But whoever started COVID by shagging a pangolin in a wet market, yeah.
Right, because there's all kinds of different things, isn't there?
Yeah, okay. So a little caveat. That's one worse person if that person exists and that happened.
I'd love it.
I'm speechless.
I'd love it if you actually phoned up the show. I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue if you.
Yeah.
That for crying out.
So what would you do if they came to your surgery?
I would.
Around my arse.
I would say to them, "Oh, there aren't any appointments, even if there were appointments." I would be like, "Sorry, you're gonna have to wait. Call us every morning, though, and we'll try and get you an appointment." And then I would never get an appointment. Can I just say, receptionists don't do that. There are genuinely very few appointments available.
He don't use this. Right, my friends, we're going to move on to the final bit of the show. Don't forget, it's not too late to donate if you do. But for our big Sunday challenge, right at the end of the show, we are moving to a lovely and my favourite part, which is called Mask Tasker. There it is. Basically, every week we give you a socially distant, COVID-friendly challenge to do. Now, we asked all of our performers to get their masks ready. Just so that you know, the challenge this week, and I'll drag it up, is to try and use your mask to launch projectiles the furthest, the fastest, the most stylish way. So I don't care who gets it the furthest. It's the one who does it with the most joie de vivre, which is French for joie de vivre. So first up, we're going to go left to right. Vlad, you are up with the mask.
Here's my face mask. I have in it a toy for a cat. Yeah, that's it there. There we got it. Right, and I'm going to see what we can do with this. I have tried doing this in rehearsal, and it was shit. There you go. Oh, what the hell? I've never had one on screen before.
Okay, Nick, you've got to beat breaking your laptop. It's now your chance to.
Yeah, I'm going to go right.
I would say probably firing it not at your laptop would be a good thing. So I'll tell you what.
I was trying to aim it in the direction of the camera.
I've got a couple of things here that I could use. So what I'm going to do is, look, I've got, I shouldn't be doing this, it's like the girlfriends, but I've got some like Elvis Presley beer mats. So I'm going to try and whiz one across the room, right? Okay, so, I'm going to do a swing. It went in the other direction. It went the wrong way. I think actually Brad only hit the screen. Mine actually went backwards. So I probably got a minus. So
I like the way that your mind is thinking. I think that so Vlad gets bonus points for actually literally damaging property, and you get bonus points for looking like we're having you on the show because you're part of a council grant. So that's great. Now next up is Jenny.
Is it me?
She has got her who can do this if she can do it the most stylishly.
So that's my mask.
Nice.
I haven't prepared this at all, so pardon me. So this is my projectile. I genuinely am meant to wear this, but I don't wear it because it makes them hate me even more. And I thought that we were going to be projectiling it by wearing it and put it.
Oh yeah.
But that's not what anyone's doing. So I'm gonna.
Very good, and I like how you've used NHS property. It's been in the hospital, and you put it in your mouth. I think that's a great idea. Last but by no means least, it is your turn.
All right, now I'm going all conceptual here. I'm going all conceptual, right? What I'm going to try and catapult is my contact lens case. Okay.
All right.
Now go with this, right? Depending upon how far it goes, that will determine whether I'm long-sighted or short-sighted. See what I did there? You see what I did there? Now, here we go. Now I'm gonna aim this, not at my laptop because it's my waist, but I'm gonna try and aim it above. Okay, all right. So here we go. You ready? You ready? You ready? Oh, cool. It's on the keyboard. There it is. Can I have another go? Can I have another go? No, I'm going to do this because I do need to know whether I'm short-sighted or long-sighted. But this time I'm going to really whack it. I'm going to go. Oh, it actually. It actually got to the other corner of the room.
You just killed the cat.
Brilliant.
In terms of the projector, I think Jay has got the top prize. I think that Jenny comes next, then Vlad. And you know what? You showed up, and it's the team.
I've never liked you anyway, Chawner. I've never liked you, so it doesn't matter, all right? I don't care. I don't care if I come along.
This book, Nik Coppin's Comedy World, which brings us on to things that you would like to plug. We've got 3 minutes left. Jenny, what would you like to plug?
Just all my socials, please. Jen Collier. You can see my website, which is jennycollier.comedy.com, or Ko-fi Jen Collier. Please give me money so I can leave the surgery, and hopefully see you IRL at a gig one day. Cheers.
Brilliant. Hopefully you can get what you're going to plug, but please plug away.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will plug something, but also I will mention that in the comments I've known that, first of all, I noticed that JC Escapades loves my Ruby slippers as my red trainers. Great, love the red trainers. And Kirsty said that this woman, Jess, I guess she's talking about, would be better off with just the Great Dane. So I need to tell you, Kirsty, that Jess, with the Great Dane, she did dump her boyfriend within weeks of that gig with the racist boyfriend. So she got rid of him. But because they've both been, very thing, I'm going to, if they want to send someone their address, email, whatever, I will send them a copy of my DVD that kind of goes with my book. I'll send them a copy. So tell them to get in touch with me or Laughing Horse Free Festival with their address, and Christy and Jay Escapades can have a copy of my DVD. That's right.
Well, pleasure having you. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Jim. Thank you to Kirsty. Thank you to JC Capades. Thank you to Bear for watching. Just before we go, I wanted to say Nick does do these little comics. Vlad showed you his. Look at mine. This is the one that Nick did of me. In Nik Coppin's Comedy World. It's not too late to donate. Please keep donating. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week, Thursday at Egg. Bye.